Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you a follow-up video to last week's video, which was a weigh-in of this prototype soccer cleat right here. For those that don't know the whole story, just to give you guys a quick summary of what's going on, I'm working with a company that will remain unnamed for the time being. They're developing a ridiculously lightweight soccer shoe, which you would have seen in last week's video. If you missed it, I'll leave an annotation on screen. So they're sending me prototypes at this point in time, having me share my feedback on them, having me test them out, and they're allowing me to share this process with you guys to a certain extent, which is part of what we're going to be doing in today's video. So again, if you want to see exactly how much these things weigh, 86 grams, believe it or not, check out that first video. There'll be an annotation on screen. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Alright, so here is a closer look at the prototype shoes that you guys saw in last week's weigh-in video. The first thing that you'll notice when you hold this shoe in your hand is how remarkably lightweight it is. They really do feel weightless, almost like a pair of socks or something like that. It's hard to believe that this is actually a soccer shoe that feels the way it does. And I'm going to describe that a little bit for you guys today. There's a few things that I'm not supposed to talk about, so I'm going to try and tiptoe around them a little bit. But nonetheless, an extremely lightweight shoe. They weigh in at 3 ounces or 86 grams, which is absolutely incredible. It's essentially half the weight of the current lightest shoe on the market, which is really impressive. Now, considering how lightweight these things actually are, I know a lot of you guys had questions regarding the durability of the shoe, and that is something that is being strongly considered when the final design actually does come around. They want them to be as light as possible. That is part of the goal of this particular shoe, but at the same time, they want them to last more than a couple of hours, obviously. So when the final product does come around, be assured that the durability will be up to par with other high-end shoes on the market. So just keep that in mind. Another question I got a lot of regarding the weight of the shoe is just based on its overall structure. I understand that they've made it extremely light, but how does it actually feel when you wear it? Does it lack responsiveness? Is there a lot of rollover? Does it feel like a paper upper, which just doesn't have the performance elements that you'd want from a high-end soccer shoe? And the answer to that question is you'd be surprised at how solid these things feel on your feet. While the materials are very thin, they're extremely high quality and surprisingly solid in terms of their overall structure. Something that is unique about this shoe, and part of the reason why it is as light as it is there is no plastic in the construction of the shoe, whether it be the sole plate or the upper, other than the studs themselves, which are of course a plastic material, being that this is a firm ground stud pattern. Now the upper is made, like I said, not from a standard synthetic. There's no plastic here whatsoever. Very thin, as you guys can see, so it is going to offer more of a barefoot feel. You can see in comparison to the last two prototype variations, the shape has changed a little bit. They moved the lacing system up, so it's a little bit shorter, so you have a slightly kind of less just less lacing in general, but the fit has not suffered at all. For those that are wondering, it definitely does have a tighter fit overall, which is kind of what you would expect from a shoe that weighs less than 100 grams. But with that being said, if you look at the sole plate profile, especially through the midfoot and forefoot, it isn't particularly narrow either. So as light and as thin as they are surprisingly comfortable, and the fit is actually really good. Central lacing system, as you can see, does have a lower cut in the heel and ankle area, as you would expect from this type of a soccer shoe. And then moving on to the sole plate, as you guys can see, it is made from a carbon fiber material. There definitely is no hiding that. The structure of the sole plate has changed a little bit, coming from the first two variations. You can see you have these kind of two bars running through the midfoot, whereas the forefoot is left completely smooth. Very thin profile, as you guys can see by the side, but surprisingly flexible and strong. You can pretty much flex this all the way backwards and it isn't going to break, which is really impressive. And like I said, part of the reason why this shoe is as light as it is. As far as the stud pattern is concerned, again, this has been dramatically changed coming from the previous prototype model that I showed you guys. You can see they've opted to go for something that is going to perform well, but isn't necessarily something that you would consider to be completely new or innovative. It's kind of a pretty average, been there, done that type of stud pattern. You have conical studs this time around, 3 on either side of the forefoot, 1 support stud in the middle, and then a slightly unusual layout in the heel. You can see you have 2 main heel studs that are a little bit longer than the 2 shorter ones that are directly in front there. So you're going to have a little bit more stability than perhaps only 2 studs would provide. But as far as traction is concerned, they had to consider performance, which you will get out of this particular type of stud pattern, but weight also had to be taken into consideration, since that is one of the main goals of this shoe. So a stud pattern that performs well and at the same time is fairly minimal is obviously what they went for here. So that's pretty much it as far as what I can talk about in today's video, guys. Really impressed with the shoe. Extremely lightweight, and I'm just excited to see what they're going to send me next and eventually what will be the final product. I know a lot of you guys ask when a final product is coming around. It's possible that it could be in 2015, but there's no guarantees on that as of yet. But that's pretty much it, guys. Let me know your thoughts on it down below in the comment section. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Why or why not? I know you guys will have your guesses as far as who's making this thing. Unfortunately, I cannot disclose that information at this point in time, but that's pretty much it, guys. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. That would be greatly appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information down below in the description as well. I'll leave annotations on screen to all the other prototype videos if you're interested in learning more about this particular shoe, so go ahead and check that out. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day.